Good morning, everyone. Thank you for, I was going to say tuning in, but you don't really tune in, for joining us. And go ahead and get a Bible and look with me in the 35th Psalm. We'll be picking up there in the 17th verse. Again, this psalm, David is praying over a situation that most of us can identify with, and that is when his closest friends, his those who he had been in combat with, have now turned their back on him, and they are now actually pursuing David along with Saul. And so David is crying out to the Lord, and he's gonna again he's kind of showing us sort of how he handled it, and there's some things maybe that we see in this psalm that are maybe examples of what not to do. But here, I think, as we pick up in the 17th verse, we're going to see that David, he's getting a little tired of this. He's getting a little frustrated, and he's frustrated at his friends, maybe even frustrated a little bit with the Lord Himself, that He has allowed this to go on, and so he asked God, I think, a question that many of us can identify with: Lord, how long will you look on? How long are you going to allow this to happen, to continue? How long will you continue before, as he goes on, it says, rescue my soul from their destructions, my darling from the lions? How long, Lord, are you going to sit back and allow me to be attacked and persecuted by Saul and his soldiers? And so he is going to here kind of lay out some reasons why God should spare him, why God should be intervening in this case. He says, "I will give you thanks in the great congregation. I will praise thee among the people." And so David is saying that the longer this goes on, the more this is happening. He says, these people are destroying me. You need to step in and rescue my soul. You need to rescue my name. David's name was being uh, uh, damaged and ruined by all this time. And he says, it just appears, let them not, in verse 18, that let not them that are mine enemies wrongfully rejoice over me, neither let them wink with the eye that hate me without a cause. And so David is, he's just saying to the Lord, in this, Lord, rescue me. Verse 17, I'll give you thanks. He's saying, Lord, that the longer this goes on, there's people watching this who think you don't care, you don't protect, you don't take care of your people, and you're just looking on. And so David is appealing to God to step in uh, and and eliminate this problem with Saul and deal with it. Again, because it was not only being damaging to David, but it was doing damage, in David's opinion. It was doing David damage to God's reputation himself. You'll notice here one change. You'll notice in verse 17, you'll see the word Lord, but as I've pointed out several times, the word Lord being all capital letters, being Jehovah. This capital L and then lowercase O-R-D is the word for God, the name Adonai. And so he's appealing to God on a different term. He's instead of Lord, all capitals, Jehovah being the covenant God. Here he's appealing as Lord, Master, and I am your servant. Protect, your servant, that you are again, he says, protect your servant, and he says here, from the lions. And so what he's pointing out is here, these are very serious. These guys they're playing for keeps. They're serious. They're trying to destroy David. Lions, they don't just they don't just play around. You might see, a cat swatting a ball around, but lions play for keeps. And so David says, this is serious, Lord, and need you to intervene. And if you do, you're going to get glory. He says in verse 18, I'll give thanks in the congregation. If you will deliver me, I'm going to give you, all the praise and the glory in the congregation. He says, I'm going to, when I am king, I am going to lead the people in worshiping you, and cause them to turn to you, and again among the people. He says, and he goes on. He said, "Let not them that are mine enemies wrongfully rejoice over me, neither let them wink with the eye that hate me without a cause." David reminds God here that all of this is unnecessary. That he was innocent of the charges, that he had done nothing to Saul, that he hadn't tried to overthrow Saul, and he'd been a good servant of Saul, and now he says here, this wrongfully rejoice. Let them wink the eye at me. What he's saying is that they're laughing at me. They're ridiculing me for my situation, for something that I didn't do. And so David is saying, Lord, you could silence all this by defending me. And again, David's just laying out his case here for why he feels like God should intervene now. He says, for they speak not peace, but they devise deceitful matters against them that are quiet in the land. And so that's a complicated way, I think, of simply saying that the enemies here, those that are pursuing David, are dividing Israel. There's a division. You don't have to be there to know that certainly there were some who were pulling for David, and some that were pulling for Saul. And so this whole situation was ripping the nation apart. Again, David had been the hero for defeating Goliath, and Saul became jealous. And so, and there were people who, again, David was still the hero because of his victory over Goliath. And so this whole thing was dividing the nation. And David said, it's hurting your people as a whole, this senseless, unjustified attack on me is doing damage to the nation of Israel, because it is causing division in the land. They opened their mouth wide against me and said, Aha, aha, our eye hath seen it. This hast thou seen, O Lord, keep not silence. And so David says, Lord, the world, the people are watching, and they think that you don't care. They think that they're making a joke out of what's happening in all of this whole situation. Keep not silence, be not far from me. And then finally David says, stir up thyself and awake to my judgment, even unto my cause, my God and my Lord. And so finally David comes back to this same point. Lord, because you are righteous, because you do what's right, and I haven't done anything wrong here, then Lord, you judge me. Lord, you step in. He says in verse 24, judge me, O Lord my God, according to thy righteousness, and let them not rejoice over me. And so David says, okay, Lord, you step in. If I'm wrong, let them have me. But I'm not wrong. And so, Lord, because I'm innocent, you should intervene and you should protect me. And David was just, extremely bothered by the fact. David was a very proud man, and he was extremely bothered by the fact that there were people laughing and ridiculing him for doing what was right. He hadn't done anything wrong. They were mocking him. They were ridiculing God, and this bothered David. And if we don't learn anything else from this particular section of this psalm, one of the great lessons is if you look at it, David's pretty much he's really blunt with God here. And one of the lessons I think that we need to take from this psalm is just that we can go to God with our burdens. We can go to Him with our emotions. We can God knows how we feel anyway, and so we can speak, and we can speak openly, and cry out to the Lord. And I think honestly that's probably one of the greatest lessons of the whole book of Psalms, is that God's okay with emotion. That He is, again, He's all right with it. Now again, there's a line to walk. God is still God, and we're still the servant. And we still approach Him humbly and reverently, but we can be honest. And David in this psalm, I think, if we don't hear anything else, again, sometimes we don't know what to say, and sometimes that causes us not to pray. This psalm and many others teach us that we just pour out our heart to our Lord, just as a good father, good mother would listen to their child who was pouring out their emotions. Again, there's a way to approach a parent. They're still the parent, but a good parent is going to listen to their child when they're emotional, and they're not going to be upset. And certainly, God cares enough about us, and He's a good enough Father. He's as the song says, a good Father. Who will listen to our burdens and hear our needs, and allows us to come to Him with our broke hearts and with our questions and with our fears, and that we can go before Him, as the New Testament says, that we can go boldly before Him. And remember this, that God loves us. If you're a child of God, He loves you more than your mind can possibly ever understand. And He's a big God, and He can take your burdens, and wants to take your burdens, and wants to walk with you. And so today I hope that helps you. I'm not sure who's going through what today. But just remember that if you don't learn anything else from these verses today, you can go to God, and you can bear your burdens to Him, and you can bear your heart and your emotions before our God, because He is a good God who loves us and cares for us in all that we do. All right, hope that helps you today. Have a great day, and we'll see you back here tomorrow morning.